Welcome back, FPL family. It's your boy FPL Bisco. We're here with game week 5 preview, I think it is. So we're going to look at what went well over game week 4, just a brief recap over what's going on there. We're going to look at some of the information coming in from the Champions League fixtures, and we're going to look towards what we're going to do for game week 5, a few transfer plans as well. Before we do anything, however, make sure you tap that subscribe button. Oh my goodness. Make sure you tap that subscribe button, join the FPL Bisco family, and I will see you in the next part of the video. Okay, let's get into the team. So this is how it went for game week 4. We had Vicario, who was good. So Vicario, well, this is my wildcard actually. So welcome to the wildcard for those that hadn't seen it. Vicario was the keeper I chosen over Sanchez, which I'm very happy with. But had I picked Sanchez, I would have gone for a Spurs defender. Who that Spurs defender would have been, I don't know. I can't say that I was going to pick Van der Ven. It could have been anybody. It would have probably been Porro, funny enough. But I went for Vicario, who got me an 8-pointer. Very happy with that. Van Dijk returned on, like, all of these got me either a clean sheet or a defensive contribution. So no problems there. I think Newcastle are still... I'm happy that they've got the striker. So Walter Mada was an option for me, but regardless, they kept the clean sheet, which is good. Semenyo brought in some much needed points, and which was the best one for me. So I had got rid of Bruno Fernandes at just the right time. I think their United showing versus City was, I think, above all, like, I'm not here to judge what United are. This is not the point of FPL, but it was just a weak performance from United in general, Bruno included. So I was happy to get rid of him. I'm sad that I got rid of Papi Sarr on the 1 week that he finally got his return. He hadn't got defensive contributions all season, and I was worried about Xavi Simons coming in. He's done his job. So Papi Sarr, for all the people that stayed true to him and kept him in their teams, well done. Salah as the captain, now he got himself a goal, no problem. I am concerned, with Salah's overall play, with it's very draining watching Liverpool for 90 minutes and then having him score in extra time. However, he did score early in midweek, which is really, really good. And it was a good goal at that. It wasn't a scrappy goal. It wasn't a penalty. He received the ball well, slotted it very finely. So there's hope that it can only get better for Salah. So there's no need to be like, oh, should we move from Salah to Haaland? I am looking at Haaland a lot, especially if we look at our strikers now. I am looking at Haaland a lot. It's just, when is the best time for me to do this? So do I want to bring him in the team? I wouldn't bring him in now versus Arsenal. I think Arsenal are the best defense in the league. Not that he can't score, but there's just better prospects. And we'll look into the fixtures that are coming ahead. Overall, I got myself a green arrow. So I finished the weekend with 75 points. I'm touching that top 1 million. So hopefully we break in one more green arrow and I've done this. So once we get into the top million, I think we're in a steady place where we can start fiddling around with captaincy, where I can start maybe making more transfers on a week-to-week basis, because I've got a bit more of something to hunt down. Then I can start chasing rank and see where I am after game week 10. But for now, I think we're in a good position. So Watkins underperformed, I believe, again. Still no goals from Villa at all. This cannot continue for much longer. Emery says he's not bothered, that they're in the mix, they're still competing. I'm not trying to hear that. I just don't think that Villa can score none for much longer. And I feel like if anybody is feeling the goal drought in that squad, it would be the striker. So Watkins has to get himself on the end of something. Let's see how it goes. Pedro, now, there's something weird about the kind of goals that Pedro's done well, but the assist was a mistake. It was just an assist and he got himself some bonus points. Whereas there are players and strikers who have been playing. I think Evan Nilsson would have been playing better and still hasn't put up as much points as João Pedro. There must be other strikers that are doing well that aren't putting up the numbers. Or when I watch Pedro Neto play, I think he's doing a really, really good job. He's creating chances. He's beating his fullback. He's crossing accurately at that. On either side, that he's played right wing recently, or for the most of the season, and then left wing as well. He's still creating chances, but doesn't put any numbers on the board. But this is not through any lack of technique, or he isn't picking up his head, he isn't finding his man. He's doing a good job of doing that, but somehow he doesn't get the assist, but Yao Pedro gets an assist with a defensive header that has just ricocheted off the back of his head, and he continues this good form. So I don't know, measuring creativity is a bit of a weird one, but nonetheless, Yao Pedro, like Chelsea, still have their fixtures. He's there to cover Palmer, who we're going to discuss a bit later on, and Mateta, who's given me some concern, seeing as Glasner's worried about his fitness, but then says that there are no other options up front. So not to say that Mateta's injured, but they're saying that he's a bit fatigued and he's not looking as sharp as he could do. Maybe if he tucks his shirt in a bit tighter, he'd be a bit sharper. I don't know. So looking at my team coming up in the following week, this is what it will look like. I'd still bank on Brighton being a reasonable fixture for Spurs. With the form that they're on, I think they're going to challenge for Europe again. I think they've got no worries coming up in midweek. I think they're playing tonight, so we'll see how they get on tonight, if there's any injuries or anything. But it's my keeper. It's set and forget. I'm not going to take out Vicario for anything. And if I do, I don't mind Dubravka versus Nottingham Forest. I really don't. Even though Nottingham Forest are a weird one. Talk about it another time. So now I'll go to Senesi, Burn, and Semenyo because that's one fixture, and I hate when I have two players or more playing in the same game on opposite teams. But one of them has to win. The worst that it could be is a 1-1 or a 2-2 with Semenyo not putting up anything on the board. But Semenyo being on pens is even a positive option. I think that Newcastle are the better team. However, I'm not sure if they played away in Europe this week or they're going to play away in Europe tonight. That would be a factor. Seeing it as it's Bournemouth at home, I'm going to bank on Bournemouth being able to put up something. But would not surprise me if Newcastle came up with a clean sheet, or if Newcastle come up with a goal, or if Newcastle come up with a win. Walter Marder's a really good addition. That all they needed was a striker. That's actually a team that I could say all they needed was a striker, and they can get one plug and play. Hopefully Wissa comes back soon, so they've got a bit more like alternatives. But Walter Marder is a fine forward, and that is even good. That it's good for my defensive contributions. Like I think both of them could get it. Senesi's, let me not say definitely, but he's in line to get it if they have a good attack that you're playing up against, and Newcastle are a good attack. Van Dijk versus Everton. This is a tricky fixture, and Van Dijk scoring. I knew he was going to score eventually. He doesn't score often. He scores like once every something funny like 15 or 20 games, and I feel like he's going to use up all his goals for the season in the Champions League. But set piece threat, very, very good. Top leader, whatever's going on at Liverpool is fantastic. But if I'm going to cover all of them, Salah's a captaincy option, of course, and now he's looking at finding form back at Anfield again. Gakpo now, the same thing I was saying about Neto and the other wingers is Gakpo's assists have been not good. They've just been 5-yard passes back. His actual goal for it hasn't been great. I haven't been impressed watching Gakpo play. I haven't been impressed watching none of the Liverpool attackers, aside from Ekitike, funny enough, who's looked really decent. And the midfield, like Gravenberch has looked good. Obviously Soboslai filling in that right back. Like Liverpool look good enough where they can go 2-0 up every game, but they still find ways to concede goals. Like they've conceded 2 goals, I think maybe 3 times this season, and that's not good for me. So how triple Liverpool doesn't feel as good to me anymore. So and Gakpo his price has gone up, so I get a 0.1 profit off him. I'm looking to get Gakpo out. It's just now is not a good week. I don't think there's many fixtures I need to target or any midfielders that I need to target now. If looking into the future, I want to look at midfielders like Eze. I might want to look at maybe Mbermo, who has been an absolute threat. All the metrics that you could find show that he's a proper goal threat for Manchester United. It's just Manchester United don't play well enough for you to, they just don't get things over the line. So whenever you're thinking about bringing in a United asset, you just have to go, they're rubbish, they stink. So what can you do? Munoz and Mateta both playing against West Ham. There's a lot of double ups in this team. Munoz and Mateta both playing West Ham. I think West Ham should be, to my eye, they might not actually be, I haven't checked, but to my eye, they're the worst defense in the league. They can concede anytime. The lack of spirit there is alarming, and they're playing at home. So if anything goes wrong for West Ham, if one goal goes in early, they could concede 4. Maybe Spurs are just a good team and they gave them a good hiding. There's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like Crystal Palace, I would expect them to have a really, really good showing. We'll see how they come up through Europe. Watkins, this is his last chance. after Sunderland away, Sunderland, who are really, really good, by the way. Defensively, they haven't been the worst team. I think they are bottom four for chances chances conceded or something like that, but they haven't shown their arse. Ross is a really good goalkeeper who's put up, I think he's maybe a top 5, definitely a top 10 in terms of points gotten this season for goalkeepers. He's done really well. I can't fault them too much for the way they've adjusted to the Prem. However, there's no excuse. This is the day that Watkins bags his goal. So looking at my plans, if I am to make a transfer, it's just goodbye to Gakpo. So if you guys have any messages for me, any ideas, who am I going to bring in for Gakpo as my Gakpo replacement for game week 6? Not necessarily for game week 5. Who would it be? And if there is someone for game week 5, who do I need to rush that transfer or not? When am I going to bring in Haaland is something else I'm thinking about, because I don't want to bring him in for this game, but I do want him in my team at some point. And I was looking at maybe game week 13. I think they've got Sunderland, and then they've got game week 15 Burnley. So during that time, that's when it's like real triple captain time. So if I'm going to bring in Haaland, it's with the eye to triple captain him at some point in the next, like the week that I bring him in. Because I'm not going to bring him in off a wild card. I'm not going to bring him in on a free hit. I want him in my team and I want him to stay. And I think Man City still have Liverpool to play. They're going to start playing every 3 days and so I don't know. City have no other striker. It's such a strange squad. But yeah, so when is the right time to bring in Haaland? He's been brought in by a lot of people already, I think, and his price has gone up already 0.2. So he was 14 mil, now he's 14.2. Before he gets to 14.5, that will really cripple my team, whereby I won't be able to justify a Haaland and Salah team. Now I just about can, because I don't care about the bench anymore. My bench boost is gone. So if there is a time for me to get him, now is that time. Am I going to do it or not? That Arsenal swing in game week 7 where they play West Ham, I think that is the time I want to double up on Arsenal assets. But who would they be? So I'm not really sure. Aside from Gyökeres, I'm not sure of which Arsenal midfielders I want to invest in. Or I might just do the defence, if that's the case. It might be just bringing some Arsenal defenders and call it a day there. Although I'm not too fond of mixing and matching defenders, because I only really want to play 3. It's just happened to be the season where you could even play a back 5 and get yourself a decent team. But I'm not sure where I want to go with this. So, but I know that I'm looking at Arsenal game week 7. That's when I'm definitely going to bring in some of the assets. It's just which ones will I bring in and will I double up on them? And then finally, Burnley enablers. So let's see how Stack plays and Dewsbury Hall if and when I'm ready to bring him in. Do they have Wolves? No, Everton have Liverpool. And Everton have Liverpool and Leeds have Wolves. So let's see what Stack does, and I'll leave him in as my cheap 5 mil option and see whenever there is a need to bring him in, because I might actually bring him in instead of Senesi, which sounds dumb. It sounds really dumb. Maybe, but I don't know. I might bring him into the team at some point. He could start for if something changes during the week and I don't want to make a transfer. I don't mind starting Stack versus Wolves, but why? Anyway, there are just other options. Like I really like Jadon Anthony for Burnley. He's a constant threat for them. He's their outlet. And in every other game but the Liverpool game, I think it was, he put up great data. Like he's taking shots. I think it's Josh Cullen. Also, who I think it might have just been 1 or 2 games, because it's such a small sample size. The value of one game makes it seem like you're a top 5 or a top 10 midfielder, which might not be the case. So if it is, I'm just having a look at where else can I find like cheap 5 mil midfielders that could get us points in who knows when. And I don't even want to be afraid to start them. So anyway, but that's my my personal team plans. Maybe I've gone on for a bit too long, but this is how it's been going for me, and I'm doing quite well for myself. We're looking at captaincy. So this week, if there's ever a week to discuss captaincy, this will be it. It's not a guarantee that Salah versus Everton is the best captain and Haaland versus Arsenal is the best captain. Arsenal are the best defense in the league, heavily touted as one of the best, if not the best defense in Europe. So is that the game? Is it? Is this really the game that we want to be captaining Haaland? He can score. He can score versus anyone. So these are the players that are fixture proof. And if you have him, the reason that you have him is so that you can captain him anytime. You can close your eyes and do it. Salah is the same. So I wouldn't say no to captain it. And I'm very well, for my team, I might captain Salah. But I do think that there's a bit more of a goal threat for some of these other good players. So Mateta coming back into the team, like I said, West Ham are the worst defence in the league to my eye. Not necessarily statistically. I actually have to double check and look at it, like who's conceded the most chances and goals. Because it might just be that maybe if your midfield is not protecting your back line, then you don't have a chance. So it might be something that is just ahead of the back line. It might be something to do with the goalkeeper. Not even sure. It's just whenever I watch West Ham and the chances that they concede, the way that they've been giving up in games is really damning to see them play the way they're playing. And I think West Ham are a good club, so they shouldn't be in this position to be clearly worse than Burnley. But they are, and we need to capitalize on them. So with that, I think Mateta could be an option for captaincy. Watkins versus Sunderland, like I said, if anybody wants to score at Aston Villa, it should be the striker. Watkins has been a top, like he gets double figures every year for I don't know how many years in a row. He's a top 5 price striker in this game for a reason. I think that he just needs to pull up his shorts and just do better. I think that if he does, it wouldn't surprise me if he gets 2. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets a goal and an assist. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets multiple returns plus bonus. This should be the week that he does it. If he doesn't, had he been in any reasonable form, I don't think I'd actually hesitate to captain him over Salah. It wouldn't bother me at all. But I don't know. I'm just, Watkins has defeated me. Like he's actually defeated me. We're looking at Palmer as well. Palmer's a good option. Now he's come back, got 2 goals in 2 games since he's come back. He looks really sharp. Playing in the right wing, I think he's more of a goal threat. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I just think I don't want to say he's a better right winger than he is a central attacking midfielder, but he's just really effective on the right wing in some games and really effective as a cam in others. And since he's been playing cam for so long, I just think maybe the novelty's died down. I think he just needs new challenges all the time. He might be that kind of player. At cam, I had just had enough. Like, it had really bored me. Not to say that the chances were there, but at right wing, he drifts. He doesn't stay out there. He doesn't hold the touchline. He can just find a way, and whereby it's just more difficult for the opposition to track him down. So I think Palmer playing at right wing, who would be the matchup versus United? It would be Dorgu, maybe Luke Shaw. I think that's a really, really tough test for them. So as long as he stays there, I think Palmer's a good option for captaincy. His price has gone down a bit since people have lost faith in him. But for those people that have kept Palmer in their squads, despite the injury, you've done really well. You're a really patient player. This is the game for you. I think Palmer would be another decent captain. I don't see Man United. It's possible. I just don't see Man United keeping clean sheets versus Chelsea. So they're going to score somehow. And Man United might also score as well. But I think Palmer is another candidacy for captaincy. Last one I'd say is Gyökeres. So Gyökeres has been really good. He's been top this season. I think he's got 3 goals so far, 3 and 4. And for those that had believed in him and didn't wait for the fixtures to get better, you had just enough for it to be justified. Like, it's been a top choice to have him in your team. So for those that have him, for sure you could keep him. But City defense they're not sturdy. They're not the most solid defense. Maybe with Rodri coming back, chance creation might be low. And Arsenal do have a tendency to be a bit defensive, especially in big games. In the mid, like when you play against mid-table sides, when you play against the lesser sides, Arsenal are really rampant, which is why I'm so excited to get them into my team in game week 7. Like, they can destroy, and they're happy to do so. However, just for these big games, the conservativeness is just a bit overbearing. So that might be a limit to how much Gyökeres will be served. However, let's not hide from it that Man City's backline are not good, and I feel like if Arsenal go out to get at them, there will be options for Gyökeres to score. Not 1, not 2. Like, this could be a real standout game for him. And I don't want to advocate for something and then someone captains him and they say, well, you said Gyökeres was going to be a great captain. I just think that it's a good possibility that Gyökeres does return 1 or 2 more goals if Arsenal go out to really threaten. But there are other options. Martinelli scoring in midweek. I think Madueke's got no returns in 5, but this might be a good option, or this might be the time that he does it. There's nothing stopping anybody from turning up in these big games. There's enough candidates for Arsenal to do so. And City are vulnerable enough at the back, at least I think, for any of these options to be good options for captaincy. So my 6 options, we've got Salah, Haaland, Mateta, Palmer, Watkins, and Gyökeres. I'm gonna go for 3 out of the 6 of these. Let's go for 4. 4 out of the 6 of these will return. Who those 4 are, I don't know. I haven't ranked them. I'm gonna start ranking them and seeing like which ones are my favorites, which ones are the most likely to return or whatever. And I think this is just a sign that a lot of you are doing well. And there's a hater out there. I don't know his name. He's just some guy that just despises all the content creators on Twitter or whatever. And he put up the rankings of all of the main content creators for FPL. And this is where they are ranked in the world after 4 game weeks. I'm not using this as something to bash the content creators, but it's more to say you guys that have done really well or not done really well, these guys regularly get top 50k, top 10k in the world. So it's a long season. This is just to show you that it doesn't all have to be done in the first 4 game weeks. If you're doing really well, there's still a long way to go. And if you haven't done so poorly, don't rush it. You don't have to play your wild card. You don't have to play a triple captain. You don't have to just go straight into doing whatever it takes to get up your rank, or you're going to quit in game week 6 if it doesn't go your way. It's okay. These guys are the best in the world, and these are their current rankings. And if they can find a way to say, you know what, we'll stick it out till game week 10, we'll stick it out to game week 18, we'll see how the second half of the season goes. Like, there's so many points for grabs. So don't get disheartened. I think this guy put it out there to prove that the content creators don't know shit. They don't know nothing. But they're okay. They regularly do well. So I think Ben Krellin has gotten like top 10 before. He might have won it one year. So hey, listen, and that's the end of that. So if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure that you do. Game week 5 made a points chase you, and I'll see you after the game week.